Welcome to Chapter 12, where we explore interpersonal communication in mediated contexts. In this chapter, we'll look at the process of computer-mediated communication, how we take the self online, and the theories that help explain computer-mediated communication. Since the earliest days of communication technology, humans have used computers to interact with one another. We will discuss the evolution of computer-mediated communication, from tools like the abacus and slide rulers, to a loom with wooden punch cards, an early mechanical ancestor of the modern computer. The 1970s marked the explosion of the modern computer. But what is a computer? In 1965, MIT researchers achieved computer-to-computer communication. By 1969, researchers at UCLA and Stanford established long-distance connections, leading to the ARPANET, the U.S. Department of Defense's Advanced Research Projects Agency network. In 1974, Telenet became the first commercial Internet service provider. So, how did computer-mediated communication, or CMC, emerge? Early Internet communication included electronic messages, message and bulletin boards, and emoticon icons. How did technology help people to communicate? Asynchronous communication is a mediated form of communication where the sender and receiver are not engaged at the same time. Synchronous communication, on the other hand, occurs when both parties are communicating simultaneously. What is asynchronous and synchronous computer-mediated communication? The early Internet also featured chat rooms, short messaging service or SMS, and the World Wide Web, in addition to electronic messages, message boards, and emoticon icons. How did technology help people to communicate further? Computer-mediated communication is less about the technologies themselves, and more about how people use technology to interact. Both asynchronous and synchronous communication are supported by multiple forms of technology. The context in which technology is used influences our choices. How do you use computer-mediated communication to facilitate interpersonal communication? One function that goes unmet in CMC is nonverbal communication. The underlying assumptions are that CMC interactions filter out communicative cues found in face-to-face interactions, and that different media filter or transmit different cues. Substituting technology mediated for face-to-face communication can lead to predictable changes. Without nonverbal cues, people often misinterpret messages based on their own perceptions. How does CMC impact nonverbal communication? Every type of communication has rules and norms. Rules outline how people communicate via different technologies, while norms are the accepted standards for interacting with others in the CMC environment. What rules and norms do you observe in CMC interactions? Netiquette refers to the set of professional and social rules and norms considered acceptable and polite when interacting online. Different contexts create different needs, and netiquette involves both rules and norms. Acceptable behavior can vary based on the technology used. How did the Internet help people communicate? Computer-mediated communication apprehension is the fear or anxiety associated with either real or anticipated communication with others. It doesn't predict one's view of CMC effectiveness or satisfaction with CMC. How do different communication factors impact CMC? Computer-mediated communication skills include computer efficacy, Internet efficacy, CMC competence, motivation to interact competently, specialized knowledge, technical know-how, and understanding the rules and norms for CMC. CMCA is negatively related to computer efficacy, Internet efficacy, and CMC competence. What are CMC skills? CMCA decreases one's motivation to use Facebook as an interpersonal tool. Individuals with high Snapchat communication apprehension are more likely to use Snapchat for functional purposes and less for entertainment. Those with social media apprehension are less likely to use social media and less likely to become addicted. How is social media related to CMCA? CMC is a tool for communication. People with high communication apprehension tend to function better in a CMC environment than face-to-face, but are less likely to engage in CMC compared to those with low CMCA. People with low CMCA see CMC as just another communication platform. Online impression formation is how one presents themselves to others through their online persona. This can impact employment and hiring decisions. What impression do you present during CMC? Co-present interactions occur when people are physically together while interacting. This is not required in mediated communication. Collocated social interactions involve facilitating verbal interactions between people sitting next to one another. How does co-presence impact interactions? Technology use can disrupt social situations. When people don't interact with each other, they may become socially isolated and lonely, leading to disengagement. Multitasking, often thought to boost productivity, actually decreases effective communication, especially during cell phone use compared to face-to-face interactions. How does co-presence impact interactions further? Technology enables, facilitates, invites, and encourages social interaction. It can make it easier for individuals to converse, collaborate, support feelings of equality, and maintain or initiate collocated social interactions. How do we foster collocated social interactions? An individual's identity develops through stages of psychosocial development from infancy to adulthood. Crises at each stage influence identity, pitting personal needs against societal needs. How does your identity develop? Pseudospeciation is the human tendency to differentiate oneself from others by forming in-groups and out-groups. This need is especially strong among those under 18. Technology and media content can shape both positive and negative identities. How does technology impact identity development? Different people present themselves differently in CMC. Irving Goffman's dramaturgical analysis explains how individuals guide their self-presentation and how others form perceptions. People negotiate their identity online across different platforms, using backstage and front stage behavior. How would you describe your online identity? When CMC identity and face-to-face identity are congruent, real life and pseudonymity both allow some control over one's image, while anonymity allows complete concealment. Catfishing and anonymity are also part of this spectrum. How would you describe your online identity? Uses and gratifications theory was the first major theory to explain CMC. It describes why people use different types of mass media to fulfill specific goals, such as interpersonal interaction, passing time, information seeking, convenience, and entertainment. Those who find interpersonal internet relationships satisfying use CMC for self-fulfillment and share personal feelings. Why do we use CMC? Social presence theory is about the degree to which we perceive others as real people online and experience interaction as a relationship. Presence is a psychological state. Higher social presence leads to more rewarding online interactions and greater communication competence. Why are some CMC experiences more rewarding than others? Media richness theory deals with the information carrying capacity of data. The richer the media, the less ambiguous the message. People prefer richer media for more ambiguous tasks, both online and in the workplace, and richer media support better social interactions. Why are some CMC experiences richer than others? Social information processing theory was the first unique theory examining CMC from a communication perspective. Created by Joseph Walther in 1992, it considers how interpersonal interactions develop over time online. CMC relationships may take longer to form, but can be as meaningful as face-to-face ones. Hyper-personal interactions can even exceed those in traditional face-to-face settings. How do CMC relationships evolve?